This is what I looked like before lower jaw surgery, and this is what I look like 1 month after. So as you can see, feeling pretty good, energy is back, and I was really nervous, what 1 month would look like for me post-surgery, but I'm here to tell my former self and all of you guys that haven't gone through the surgery yet that at 1 month, you're gonna be feeling pretty good. And I would almost argue that if you went out into the world, no one would even be able to tell that you've had surgery. My name is Adrienne. I have other videos in my playlist documenting my lower jaw surgery to fix my underbite, so go check out that playlist if you're interested. But yesterday I had my 4-week checkup with my surgeon. He, came in the room and said my swelling looks pretty good. I just have a little bit of swelling here, and I personally feel like I still have a little bit of swelling like under my chin. Obviously, like my jawline looks way better than it did in my past few videos, and especially after that first week, but I do still feel like I have a little bit of swelling underneath here, so hopefully that will start to subside or go down like over the next few weeks. I was sleeping on a wedge pillow for the first 2 weeks like after the surgery. I literally like didn't lay down the entire first 2 weeks, and then afterward during week 3 I started to sleep like flat again. I mean, with a pillow, of course. It's been going pretty well. Like, I don't feel like I'm too swollen in the morning. Like maybe I'm a little bit more puffy, but like nothing too noticeable. So in terms of the swelling, I think I'm doing pretty good, and it will continue to get better. In terms of the numbness, the surgeon checked me like sort of in 3 places. So he asked about my lips, my chin, and then also like my gums. So I would say like my lips, I know in the past few videos I've said they're pretty good, and yeah, like I would still say they're pretty good. Like I would say maybe there's 5% of numbness, but honestly like nothing that I really notice. My chin, yeah, maybe like 10% of numbness, but in the office he does a test where he takes a Q-tip and then he like touches your lips and different parts in your chin, and then asks if you can feel it, and then he also like breaks it in half to make it a little sharper, and he kind of pokes and says like, asks if you can feel it, and I was able to feel all of the pokes. So I think my numbness is actually like pretty good. The only place where I feel like I'm still quite numb at are the gums, and I feel that like here especially, like I know it's the gums, but I do feel the numbness. Like I point to my outside just because when I'm talking, like I feel a bit of restriction here because it's numb. And then like if I smile and if I even just open my mouth like this, like I feel numbness here. So I mentioned that to the surgeon, and he actually told me to take B12, the supplement, which can apparently help with like muscle regrowth or regeneration, or just like waking up your muscles. So I bought that yesterday. That was actually a supplement that I looked up before the surgery to see if I should have like taken it this whole time, but it wasn't something that he recommended or like mentioned anything about before the surgery. Not that he said don't take it, it just wasn't something that he explicitly told me to take. So I decided like not to take it before, but now that he said, go ahead and take B12, that's what I'm doing. So hopefully that's gonna help with the numbness in the next few weeks. But I'll let you guys know how that goes, and if this numbness goes away. It doesn't really prevent me from eating or like doing anything. It's just more like, I feel like when I'm talking, I'm not talking like I normally do just because this part feels numb, like I can't move this. So it's kind of a weird feeling. In terms of talking and whether I can talk normally, yes, I am talking more, and I'm actually trying to open my mouth more, because when I went to my appointment yesterday, he was like, oh, you're really compliant. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, you're really talking with your mouth closed. He's like, you're almost kind of mumbling because you don't want to like open your mouth. And I guess like subconsciously I have been doing that because I am nervous or scared about like opening my mouth too big because I don't want to irritate the jaw. So yes, I think like subconsciously I have been talking with my mouth like a little bit more closed because I don't want to irritate it. But he did actually say I was very compliant, which I think too compliant maybe, because maybe some other patients don't keep their mouth closed. But he did say I can go ahead and like try to talk normally and open my mouth like a little bigger when I'm talking. So if I'm in this video going like this, that's why I'm trying to practice talking bigger. But like I mentioned before, like when I'm talking, it still doesn't feel normal because of the numbness that I feel here. Like it just feels like there's little balloons here that are, I don't want to say swollen because I'm not, you know, wildly swollen, but it just is preventing me from talking normally. I will say though that when I'm like talking a lot for like over an hour, I end up getting a bit of muscle soreness, and not a bit, a lot of muscle soreness here, to the point where like it's tender to the touch. So I went to like a friend's housewarming on the weekend, and I was, you know, talking to different friends at the party, and when I came back, like all night and the next day, I felt so sore, and it's like achy and tender when I touch along here. And when I googled, like this muscle is actually all connected to your lower jaw, so it made sense why like this was feeling sore. And when I mentioned it to the surgeon yesterday, he said like my muscles are tight, which is why that's happening, and that's also probably like a byproduct of me like keeping my mouth closed so much when I'm talking, or like during this recovery time. And so that's why he said, you know, you want to like move your mouth around and move your jaw and give it some like movement and relax it a little bit. So that's what, again, I think they're all interconnected, me feeling this achiness and tenderness, not opening so much, and just like my speech. So in the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna be like practicing, of course, talking back to normal, la la la, and trying to open my mouth a little bit more, because he also said the other thing was like he asked me to open my mouth a little wider, and this is about how much I can open after 1 month, and he said that it's a little smaller than what other people are tracking at after 1 month. And so again, that probably all tracks with the fact that I keep my mouth very closed when I talk. That's causing me to get a bit of like soreness here. So to help with that, he asked me to take muscle relaxant actually to help like loosen my jaw muscles. He did warn me that, you know, it might make me sleepy, so only take it when you're home and you don't have to drive and stuff like that. But I am gonna start trying to take muscle relaxant. I did not yesterday because I forgot, but yeah, I'm gonna take it and see how it does, because yeah, it's interesting that my muscles are like subconsciously just clenching here by itself. One thing he asked me to do during my week 3 check-in was to start wearing my Invisalign trays at night. So I have Invisalign on top and bottom, and then to continue wearing my splint during the daytime. So when I had that week 3 visit, I did it that night, and like, holy crap, it was the first time I had put in my Invisalign trays since before the surgery, and it is so weird fitting the Invisalign trays with my teeth now aligned properly versus like before when I had an underbite. Like it is truly so weird because it's the exact same trays, because my teeth are still the same. It just like my teeth are fitting differently. So it's so weird, but it was feeling actually really tight again because the splint holds your teeth in alignment, but there is a little bit of give I find in the splint versus Invisalign trays, which locks on really tight. And so the first night I put it on, it was really, really tight. And the next day when I went to like take it out, usually for the bottom tray, so I had no problem taking out the top trays, but for the bottom, when I had to stick my finger like in the back here, I think I couldn't quite open my mouth wide enough to like be comfortable pulling it out. And so I really struggled with taking it out. So it was like so achy that I decided, you know what, like I'm just gonna continue wearing the splint full time, day and night, and not do the Invisalign trays just because I really couldn't open like wide enough for it to be comfortable. And so when I went in yesterday, I told him that I wasn't wearing my Invisalign trays, and he was like, no, like you really should. And I asked him why, because I thought that the trays, like the splint, sorry, should be holding my teeth straight. And he said, yeah, like that's true, but you should still be wearing your Invisalign trays. And I think that he's saying that because just inadvertently by like putting it on, taking it out, it's going to force me to naturally like open my mouth more and have more movement. And so I think that's probably why he wants me to wear it. And actually the other thing he said is because like if my teeth, like if my jaws are not bounded closed anymore at night, It's also gonna help my muscles relax when I go to sleep so that I'm not just like closed for the whole night. I'm able to like let it relax and naturally open. So I think doing that change too is going to help. And so yesterday night I did put on Invisalign trays to go to sleep, and this morning it was tight, I would say, to like take it out, although it was a little bit better than last week when I tried it on. And so I think, again, as I'm doing all of this like muscle relaxing, it's just gonna get better. Yeah, I think that's been, if you want to call it, like the biggest struggle for me, although it's hasn't been super like intrusive or anything. It's just not being relaxed is affecting how wide I can open my mouth, wearing the trays, getting some like tenderness and soreness here. But I think that's all because I am subconsciously like closing my mouth when I'm doing anything because I'm scared. Yeah, I'm gonna try opening more now that he says I can, to relax my muscles. Oh, and then the other thing he asked me was how I felt about like how I look now. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I like the fact that I don't have an underbite, but I'm like, my smile looks really weird. And then he was like, what do you mean? He's like, smile. And I'm like, and he's like, that's not how you smile. I'm like, what do you mean? And then he pulled up a picture that they had taken of me smiling before. And he's like, your smile's really rounded right now. He's like, you don't smile like that. He's like, you should like lift the corners of your mouth up. Like, this is probably how I smile before. So it's kind of funny. He said like it's a little bit of also like retraining your muscles on like how your bite is now and how your smile is going to be. But I think basically before, like, it was just feeling so weird and I didn't want to open my mouth that big that I would just smile like this. But really, and now I'm actively trying to smile this way. I'm like, hey, nice to see you. And like, even as I'm talking now, I feel a little bit of like muscle soreness here, but hopefully that will get better and I will let you guys know in a future video like how this continues to feel. In terms of eating, I made a video just last week on the soft foods that I'm eating, but I'm still having to continue with my soft food diet. I ask every single time I go, I'm like, can I chew? And they're like, no, like you can't chew until 8 weeks. So I have another 4 weeks before I can chew again. And I think that's just to make sure that the bones like really fuse together and stabilize before you chew into something harder. So I'm still on soft foods, but I have, and I'm not testing like chewing with anything super hard, but let's say I'm eating like a piece of bread and, or I don't know, like a noodle that's too long and I just have to like bite it to like break it up. It's definitely feeling less weird and less strain to chew that than like it did a week ago. I'm not going to rely on chewing at all. It's just, again, for those times where I haven't like cut up my food enough, but it's definitely feeling a lot better than it did even a week ago. So go watch my previous video on soft food ideas that you can eat and go suggest me some others because I still have 4 weeks to go of soft foods to eat. I know technically you can cut anything, but like it's actually so difficult to cut through meat. Oh, I actually made chicken tortilla soup yesterday and the chicken in the tortilla soup is like shredded. So it's already like, you know, in stringy small pieces. And then when you cut through the shredded chicken, it's even easier and smaller to eat. So that's another great recipe to try. And then in terms of like energy and my mental space, energy, great. I mean, I basically feel back to normal and like, you know, I'm back to focusing on whatever tasks I have to do. My mood, great. I would say during the first couple weeks, I was feeling quite like, you know, I was still upbeat, but then I was also feeling like really emotional about the fact that I couldn't like do anything and I just wasn't feeling like myself. Because in that first 2 weeks, it's like you almost feel like yourself, but you're not. And I couldn't focus on things like watching TV, listening to podcasts, like watching YouTube videos. Like I just couldn't focus on the normal stuff that I would be able to. So that really like made me feel weird and I was super emotional in the first 2 weeks. But weeks 3 and 4, energy is back to normal. I feel great. So yeah, I would say the first 2 weeks are going to be rough. Weeks 3 and 4, you're going to be feeling so much better and basically like almost back to your normal self. In terms of leaving the house and going out and socializing, yeah, I mean, I feel totally fine. I started going out to have food at restaurants with some of my friends in week 3. I obviously have to like wear the splint as much as I can, so I'm like talking through the splint, which is kind of funny. But during the actual meal, I'm able to take it out. Like as long as I'm able to like slice up my food, you're able to go out and enjoy time with your friends, because like 2 weeks at home is quite a long time to not like see anybody. And I know not everyone does that, but I was also a little paranoid about like people coming over to visit, and if they're sick, like I don't want to catch their bug or anything. So I wasn't really inviting like people over in the first couple of weeks, and you also just don't feel great. In terms of my confidence, I mean, I would say that having an underbite did affect my confidence and self-esteem like throughout my life and growing up. And it's just something I always felt like whenever people would take pictures. So funny enough, it's like I'm someone that actually loves taking, I don't even know if I would say I love taking photos, but I don't, I'm not scared of taking photos. But I would say like, during that era or phase of like people taking lots of pictures and uploading them on Facebook, like I always had so much anxiety looking at photos or like photo albums that people uploaded, in case they caught me in like a side profile or angle that really like showcased my underbite. And like, that's what I mean when I say that growing up, having the underbite really affected me, because I was always so scared and like just didn't like seeing photos of myself with an underbite. If I look at myself face on, even before having the surgery, you can't really tell. Like, I think I mentioned before, I don't really talk of my bottom teeth as much before the surgery, but like you can't really tell. So it affected my confidence when I looked at photos, and if other people would like point out I had an underbite. But just looking at myself day to day, taking photos and stuff, like I still felt pretty good about myself in that way. In terms of the confidence that I have now, I don't really know if it's made a huge difference yet. Only because, like I mentioned, when I'm talking like face to face in front of the camera, it wasn't a problem before. Like I had an underbite, it just wasn't very prominent. But I think that it'll make more of a difference in the next few months, as I'm taking photos with my friends, taking photos for my wedding and an engagement shoot and stuff like that. Like being able to be captured from like all sides and not have to worry about like, oh, like make sure you don't like catch my underbite. Like that I think is gonna make me feel a lot better. But as of now, normal. I mean, I'm not feeling like a big boost of confidence yet, but I also think that face forward, that wasn't as much my issue. It was more the side profile. If you guys out there with like underbites or overbites like feel me, by the way, like let me know in the comment section, just so I feel like you'll understand too. But yeah, I think you understand like the anxiety you feel when you look at a photo that is highlighting a feature that you don't like of yourself, and it's not something that you can help. Like it's just not a good feeling. And so I'm looking forward to taking photos of myself, seeing photos from all different angles, and not having to feel that like, oh, I don't like that kind of feeling. Thank you guys so much for watching though. This is my 1 month update. Ooh, and I'll show you my profile. So this is what my profile looks like. I'll try to like put a picture of what it looked like before too here. And then if I smile biting down, this is what it looks like now versus before. And then let me go to the other side so you can see that side too. So, and then this is what it looks like when I'm biting down. So yeah, that is where I'm at for month 1. Let me know again if you guys have any questions. You guys have been asking really good questions, and I'm super happy to hear from all of you and like answer anything you have. Leave a like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Good luck on your own jaw surgery experience. Bye guys.